Have you ever been hurt by someone and chosen to say nothing? Not because you had nothing to say, but because something inside you went quiet. A silence that wasn't emptiness, it was weight. The kind that sits in your chest and stays there long after the moment has passed. And while you were in that silence, did anyone ever make you feel like you should speak up? Like staying quiet meant you were weak, that you were letting them get away with it, that a stronger person would have said something? Because if they did, they misunderstood something important. Silence after being hurt is not weakness. It is one of the most misread forms of strength there is. Think about what it actually takes to stay silent when you're in pain. When every part of you wants to respond, wants to defend yourself, wants to make them understand what they did and how it felt. Choosing not to is not the easy path. Reacting is easy. Exploding is easy. Saying everything you feel in the heat of the moment, that requires almost nothing from you because the emotion does all the work. But silence? Silence requires control. It requires a kind of inner discipline that most people never develop because they never had to. It means feeling the full weight of something and still choosing not to let it own you in that moment. That is not weakness. That is one of the hardest things a person can do. But here is what makes it even more complicated. The people who hurt you rarely interpret your silence the way it deserves to be interpreted. Some will see it as indifference. Some will see it as an invitation to go further because nothing pushed back. And some, the most dangerous ones, will call it weakness to your face. They will mistake your self-control for inability. They will confuse your quiet for having nothing to say. And maybe in those moments, you started to believe them. Maybe you started wondering if they were right. If staying quiet only made things worse. If speaking up, even badly, even messily, would have been better than this silence that nobody seemed to understand. But here is what was really happening inside that silence. You were processing. You were protecting yourself from saying things in a moment of pain that you couldn't take back. You were giving yourself the space to feel what happened without immediately performing a reaction for someone else's benefit. You were choosing your own clarity over their comfort. And that is not a small thing. That is wisdom that some people spend their entire lives never learning. Because not every hurt deserves a response. Not every person who wounds you has earned the right to see exactly how deeply they did it. There is something quietly powerful about feeling pain and not handing the person who caused it a front row seat to your reaction. It keeps something sacred. It keeps something yours. Your silence was never surrender. It was self-preservation. And over time, that silence does something else. It shows you things that a reaction would have hidden. When you go quiet after being hurt, you get to observe. You see how the other person handles your stillness. Do they check on you? Do they reflect on what happened? Do they reach out with genuine concern? Or do they carry on as if nothing occurred? Relieved that there was no confrontation. Because how someone responds to your silence after they have hurt you tells you more about them than the original moment ever could. Some people will sit with discomfort and find their way back to you with humility. And some will simply move on, comfortable in the quiet, unbothered by your pain, as long as it isn't loud enough to inconvenience them. That distinction matters. It tells you exactly who you are dealing with. So if you have been carrying guilt for choosing silence when you were hurting, let it go. You did not fail by not reacting. You did not lose by not fighting back in that moment. Sometimes the most honest response to pain is simply to feel it without turning it into a performance. Your silence was not nothing. It was everything you chose not to waste on someone who may not have deserved it. And one day when the weight lifts and the clarity comes, you will know exactly what to say, to whom, and whether they have earned the right to hear it at all. Because silence isn't the end of a response. Sometimes it is just the beginning of a better one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.